button.
It's the 5th of June. Rabbi Levitt, Chofetz Chaim. I got my book. Hey.
Oh, you got them.
Yeah, so Alan, in Mitzvah Hashem, I'll give you yours today.
Okay.
Okay, so
I got the book already.
And I made arrangements with Meir. I'm going to give him his also. So tomorrow, everybody should have their books.
okay, very good.
May I have a medical thing today, Rabbi?
Yeah, Mayor just came in. Especially, he said he came into the meeting just to inform us personally that he's got to go to the dentist.
Oh,
So that's when I told him it should be painful. It should be chas v'sholom. It should be
painless.
shouldn't be painful. not in the mouth and not in the wallet.
Amen.
That's the yeah, at least that. And if it solves something, noch besser.
Okay.
All right. Yes. No, I have a very good dentist actually. So, Baruch Hashem. All right. So, okay. So you could look inside now.
Yeah.
We are. Let's see. Here we are in the which lists the positive, the negative, and positive commandments that pertain to lashon hara and rechilas. We finished the 17 sections of the negative commandments, and now we're in the asim, the positive commandments that a person could be in violation of by speaking lashon hara and rechilas. So we are up to, according to my calculations over here, that one. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I think. Oh. I think we did that one too. Yeah. Yeah, we did that one also. Okay. We're up to Vav, Os Vav.
Page 80?
The page number I can't tell you. You have 80 in yours? In mine is 54.
Okay.
But I don't have, I don't have that edition that you have. I have this edition. This is what I have.
I see. Okay, so mine says V'chol zeh shekasavnu.
For Os Vav?
Yeah, if I'm in the right place.
I'm in the psicha of the asim. Okay, let's see here.
About disparaging a fellow Jew privately?
Okay, you might be already in the actual body of the Sefer itself, in the first klal.
Right.
I'm just looking to see. Afilu imhu roeh? No, that's not it either.
No.
Oh boy. Maybe you're in the Lavin. Maybe you're in the section of the negative commandments.
No, I'm in the positive. I'm in the Osin.
Okay, and what and you're on, and what is the and what are the first words?
V'chol zeh shekasavnu.
Kol zeh shekasavnu.
in all that we have written applies even to someone who speaks disparagingly of his fellow Jew privately.
Wow, this is very interesting. I can't find it anywhere.
What is yours? What does your law say?
Oh, 1 second. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm looking at. Must be sleeping. Yeah, that's exactly what I have also. Kol zeh shekasabnu. Okay. All right.
Hashem.
Kol zeh shekasabnu. Uafilu im mesaper divrei gnus al chavero beino levein atzmo. Now, all this that we have written so far, which have all these prohibitions and in violations of positive commandments, is even if he tells over these divrei genus, these denigrating words about his friend beino levein atzmo. Now, what is that referring to exactly? How do they translate that?
They say privately, but I don't get it. If it's privately, then it means you're not talking to anybody.
Yeah, let's see the rest of the expression is it needs we'll see what he means in the Hemshech. Aval im medabek es atzmo lechabura shel anshe resha ubali lashon hara kedei lesaper lehem divrei genus al chavero o kedei lishmoa mihem overgam hamitzvahs asay shel ubo tidbak ubo perish al zeh bedivrei chachmenu lihistabek b'chachmei haTorah ulahasmid b'yeshivatam b'kol ofen mehafanim. Okay, so it seems to me that what he means when he says beino lebein atzmo, beino is referring to the one who's listening to him talk, and lebein atzmo, and himself, between himself and the person who he's speaking to. But obviously he's speaking to somebody, because if he's not speaking to anybody, so then that's not lashon hara.
Right.
So,
But isn't Atzmo himself?
Atzmo is himself.
And Beino is also himself, right?
Well, it could be that sometimes that expression of Beino lebein atzmo is, you're right, it means that he's sort of like speaking to himself. That could be that you could find sometimes that expression means that. For some reason, the Chofetz Chaim over here is using this expression, but I think it's clear that he doesn't mean that he's talking to himself over here, because I'll bring you a raya. He said before that the listener, both the listener and the speaker, are in violation of the prohibition of lifnei iver lo seitein mikshol. Do not put a stumbling block before a blind person. Right. Each one of them is assisting the other one to be in violation of a prohibition of lashon hara. The speaker is causing the listener to be in violation because he's listening and believing, presumably, and the listener is causing the speaker to be over, because without him, the speaker is not over. If he's talking to himself, he is not over. That's how it is that the listener who accepts the report can be in violation of lifnei iver, of causing the speaker to be in violation. because if he wouldn't be there and there would be nobody to talk to, then this person is not going to be in violation of Lashon Hora for telling the wall about Ploni. There's no Isser Minatorah to tell the wall about Ploni.
So maybe it means with one other person.
Yeah.
Beno is a person
Right.
himself.
Right. Between him and himself. Meaning him, it's not him, the him is not himself. The him has to be a different person.
Right. So that's like in the case of Miriam when she talked with Aaron.
Right. Right. Exactly. Right. This is 50% of understanding Gemara, Rishonim, Achronim. You have to always know who the he is that the writer is talking about.
Right. That's why they say, who is he?
Yeah. Who is he? Who is it? Oh, and it makes it even doubly difficult in Lashon HaKodesh because there's no such word as it.
Right. Yep, absolutely.
So anyway, that's another matter. Okay, so even though he's in violation when he's talking in private, meaning between himself and the listener, but if he goes and he speaks he goes to a group of people, and he speaks and hears Lashon Hora over there, so then he says that he's in violation of a positive commandment that says bo tidbak. Now, this pasuk of bo tidbak, on the face of it, would seem to be talking about clinging to Hashem. The bo is referring to Hashem. But the Chachamim came along, and the Chachamim made a drush that clinging to Hashem, what does that mean to? What does that mean? It means clinging to the Chachamim, clinging to the Talmidei Chachamim, and being very much in their presence, and sitting with them, and in all ways, not just speaking to them, but even shimush Talmidei Chachamim is even greater than learning from them. Shimush is you see how they act, you see what they say, you see how they do. That's even a greater lesson. In any case, so the person who goes ahead and instead of clinging to the Chachamim, right? If the person would go to a Chacham and he would start saying Lashon Hora, the Chacham would say, "Excuse me, you're speaking Lashon Hora. Please stop that." But if he goes to a group which is much more interested and willing and interested to hear all of the Lashon Hora that he has to say, so that is going to be a nullification, a bittul of this commandment of bo tidbak, to go ahead and get up and cling to the Chachmei HaTorah. Okay. And that's what the Chofetz Chaim says. Lehistabek kol minei chibor, to connect to them and be in their presence in all matter of connection. And all of this is in order to learn from them, from what they say, from what they do, how they do. Somebody certainly who does the absolute opposite of that, and that's what this person is doing by going to these groups of people that are interested in Hora. He calls them Rishoyim, Chofetz Chaim. Over al mitzvahs hasezu, he's in violation of nullifying this positive commandment that one is commanded to do this. Okay. Zion. You want to read? Oh. Okay. All right, Zion. V'kol ze afilu shelo b'beis hamedrash. Everything that we've spoken about is even if it's not in the Beis HaMedrash. Aval im medaber lashon hara urechilas u'Beis HaMedrash u'Beis HaKnesses. If he's going to say these words of lashon hara and rechilas in the Beis HaKnesses or Beis HaMedrash, over od al mitzvah say u'mikdashi tiro, then he's in violation of the positive commandment of the Torah that says, and you shall fear my mikdash. What does speaking lashon hara in the shul have to do with fearing the Beis HaMikdash? Says the Chofetz Chaim. O Beis HaMikdash shelanu gam kein b'chlal mikdash hu kamosh mavur b'poskim.
I'm ready to go. I'm just waiting for you.
V'nitztivanu b'zeh pasuk li'irav mimi sheshochen bo. And the point is, so in other words, the poskim say that our schools and yeshivas and places where people learn Beis Medrash have a din mamish of being a mikdash ba'at, and they applied, and this pasuk applies to them to fear. But what are you supposed to fear when you're in the Beis HaMikdash, in the shul, or in the Beis HaMedrash? What are you supposed to fear? So this Chofetz Chaim says, you're supposed to have yira for the one who is his dwelling there, the one who is shochen there. He's the one who is there, and that's referring to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Ulechein ein machashbin bo cheshbonos ki im shel mitzvah. So therefore, one should not balance his bank statement in the shul or the Beis HaMedrash. Kigon. Or unless that bank statement is the bank statement of the Beis HaKnesses or the Beis HaMedrash, then it's a mitzvah what he's doing. He's doing something which is assisting the learning of Torah in the Beis HaMikdash, Beis HaKnesses, or the Beis Ha, you know what I mean. Kupa shel tzedakah, or he's balancing the books of the charity fund, ukedoime, or something of that sort. V'kol shekain da'asa behem skok v'hitul v'sicha b'teila, and all the more so. What would be even worse than just balancing a bank statement in these places is to engage in dvorim b'telim and silly words of which are of no import. V'lo mo'il b'zeh shum tanai k'mavur b'shulchan aruch Chaim. Oh, and there's okay. What? No. The builder of the shul, he can't say, oh, building this shul on the condition that people should be allowed to speak Dvorim B'Telim over there. That's not going to help. A person who is in the shul, a person who's in a Beis Medrash, there's a certain ema and yira that he's supposed to have. And what does that mean? If you'll ask, what does that mean? It means to make doubly sure that one doesn't speak lashon hara and rechilas, and if so, he will be in violation of this pasuk of Mikdashi Tiro. And that's apart from the fact that, of course, he's over on the Isser of Lo Selik Rachel Ba'amecha. That he's not cognizant of the fact that Hakadosh Baruch Hu is present in this place. Because if he would really be cognizant of that, he would surely not say what he's saying. Ulakach, who meis panav. Afilu l'daber b'beis hamelech shelo karotzon hamelech. He's what he's doing literally is he's in the house of the king and he's speaking. The king finds very, very forbidden. The words are forbidden to say such words. And even in the house of the king, he's speaking such words. Okay. So over here where it says afilu halom de Torah, you want to take over, Lou?
Okay, let's see. Afilu halom de Torah bika vius beves hamidrash. Okay, even those who learn Torah regularly in the base hamidrash, shehutar lahem leechol v'lishtos beves hamidrash. Let's see. That it's permitted for them to eat and to drink in the base midrash. Bame voar beorach Chaim besiman hey nun gimel hey nun lamed.
Aniska La'el.
Aniska La'el.
Yeah, which has been
explained above.
Yeah, when we said above, we quoted a quoted a place in Shulchan Aruch that no Tanai will help to allow speaking Dvarim B'Telim in a shul.
Okay. So as explained in the Orach Chaim, as cited above. Okay, so what is explained? Even those who learn Torah in the Beis Midrash on a regular basis, for whom eating and drinking in the Beis Midrash is permitted,
and that it's permitted is explained in the Shulchan Aruch in the aforementioned siman.
Okay, I see. Okay, Mikom Makom, nevertheless, im yiyu lichshalin be'isur sechok the o lashon hara urechilus beves hamidrash. Nevertheless, if they would stumble in the prohibition of joking, jesting, or speaking lashon hara or rechilas in the Beis Midrash, Haim ovrim al mitzvas asay de mikdashi tira'u. They would be transgressing the positive commandment of my sanctuary you shall revere. Levad me'isuro ha'atzmo. Beside the prohibition itself. So
Right.
I don't get why he mentions eating and drinking. If you're allowed to eat and drink in there, so what? I mean, if you can't, you're not allowed to do these things regardless of whether you can eat and drink in there.
Yeah, I hear the question. He in other words, the question is, we just got through saying that you can't say lashon hara, and you can't say rechilas, and you can't do schok and hitul in the base medrash. So that goes for everybody. Why would we think that lomdei Torah b'kfiyus would be permitted to do so? Perhaps we could say that what he means over here, he's speaking sort of, sometimes the Chofetz Chaim just wants to make a point of pointing something out which he thinks is a problem. Even though from what he said, it's already evident that this is so. But he's making a special point of pointing it out and saying, that means you guys. That's what he's doing over here.
I wonder,
Even though, yeah.
I wonder if he isn't also maybe setting up a kind of a basis for a kol v'chomer when he says even, a filu says even, maybe saying, you might think that these people who, have the special dispensation that they can eat and drink, for them, the laws are more lenient. But that's not true. Even for them, they can't do it.
Okay. Yeah, right. There's no real point in him talking about the issue of Talmidei Chachamim and Lomdei Beis Medrash eating and drinking in a shul. What does that have to do with his subject? Would seem to be irrelevant. But maybe that's it's also a way to explain why he's saying what he's saying. They shouldn't think that because that's really, in a certain sense, that's what happens when people start eating and drinking. They they get they're enjoying themselves with their eating and drinking. They're having enjoyment, and then they figure they'll that could lead to other enjoyment as well. So it's something to be careful about, even though it's seems to me it's already been made very clear that such things as joking and jesting would constitute a violation of Mikdashi Tiro.
Right. Uchemo shekasav hamagen Avraham, and it's like that which is written by the Magen Avraham. Da'atu ha-talmidei chachamim einam muzharin al amorah ha-mikdash. Datu is to caution.
Atu is a rhetorical. Makes the statement into a rhetorical question.
It isn't it the case that Torah scholars are not Mus Harin must be cautioned about revering the sanctuary. So are the Torah scholars not cautioned about revering the sanctuary?
So you see already over here that it's not the Chofetz Chaim who started this discussion. Even the Magen Avram, a couple of hundred years before the Chofetz Chaim, he also made the same comments.
Right.
That there's some issue over here about the Lomdei Beis Medrash, Talmid Chachamim, coming to be lenient in this matter of more mikdash.
Right. Velo kutar lahem ella achila ushtia midochak and it's all they only permitted eating and drinking for them because of difficulties. My English says difficulties that they would otherwise face.
Right, he's gonna go, yeah.
Mitoch shehem lomdim beves hamidrash. Since they're learning in the Beis Midrash, im yitztarchu le'echol v'lish tot kutz lebeis hamidrash. If they were required to eat and drink outside the Beis Midrash, Batlu al yedei ze mi limudam. They would nullify their learning. Ayin sham b'magain Avraham. Look over there in the Magain Avraham.
No, it doesn't matter.
In other words, if they're learning, a serious amount of time, like 6, 8, 10 hours a day, and they gotta get up and go out and go to a restaurant or go home and to eat and drink, then it's going to take away a lot of time.
Because we know where it is, we don't know the number, we don't know the street, we know.
Is that right? Alan, can you mute?
Yeah. What's that?
Can you mute, please? There's a lot of noise in your background.
Yeah, I'm muted. Okay.
Thank you.
Is
that right, Rabbi, what I just said?
Okay, so let me ask you a question. What happens if, like, the situation is that, from 9 o'clock until 1 o'clock is Seder, and everybody is studying in the Beis Medrash, and then they have Mincha, and then it's 1:20, and then it's Bein Sidorim. It's in the middle of the learning. Then people are eating in the Beis Medrash, and they're looking at a newspaper or something in the Beis Medrash, or something else that doesn't contain any Torah in it. They're not learning Torah now. Would that be permissible according to this?
I would say no.
So with that, you've condemned most of the Lumdei Torah in the base medrash, because I think that's unless you're going to say that while they're eating Bein Sidorim, they're learning something, they're learning another subject, but it's also Torah that they're learning.
Right, that's what I was thinking. That I was saying, 6, 8, 10 hours a day. So that's more than from 9 to 1. That's basically saying that they're going to get hungry, and they're not going to have a chance to eat unless they eat right sitting. They have their lunch bag, and they say, okay, now let's take a break from the intense learning that we're doing, and let's learn something a little bit lighter, and we'll eat while we're learning.
Unless you'll say that, I was just thinking like this, somebody lives in Neve Yaakov and he goes to Haniche Yeshivas in Romema to learn. He's in a kollel over there. What do you want him to do for lunch? You want him to go back to Neve Yaakov? By the time he gets back by the time he goes to Neve Yaakov for lunch, he's going to be, and he comes back to Romema, he's going to be in time for dinner.
Right.
Over there, you have to go back again to Neve Yaakov. So it's not going to work. If according to that, then he would be even able to eat in the base medrash, and even if he doesn't learn anything,
when he's travel.
Yeah. Because he's got no, where do you want him to eat? Unless you say, oh, just go outside and eat on the bench over there. And, he's not so comfortable to do that. May not even, he wants to eat in a private place. Doesn't want to eat, everybody's looking at him. Eating is a private thing. Not required to do that. And in most, like in Hanicha Yeshivas, for example, there was really no place to eat. Where are you going to eat except in one of the in some place in the base medrash?
Right.
So,
but also, I don't think that they should be reading the paper.
Yeah, that they shouldn't. That even outside the base medrash. That's another thing.
Well, I don't have a problem with him doing something like that at home, but there should be a certain attitude of propriety when you're in the base midrash, that you don't pull out a newspaper.
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah. Okay, but it's interesting. He doesn't mention anything about taking a rest in order to have koach to learn for the second seder. That he doesn't say.
Yeah, that's a good point. I have to take a nap in the middle of the day.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. So in any case, he really got into this topic over here, and now he mentions another point over here. While we're on the topic, while the Chofetz Chaim is on his topic over here about eating and drinking in the shul and the base medrash, he says, "Ule'inyan stam dibur shaletzonos," right? In regard to ordinary words, they're not osir. It's not lashon hora. It's not rochilis. It's not skok or chitul either. It's not joking and jesting. They're just they're not words of Torah. He points out they're not words of leitzonos. They're not words of foolishness and silliness. Right? What about such words? Le'inyan stam diburim she'enam shel yitzonos l'talmud chacham b'beis hamedrash ayin b'mashe kasavnu. Take a look at what we've written in Chelik Gimel. Did they have a note about that in the art scroll?
Yeah, they actually have a couple of notes.
Yeah, they probably, yeah. Let's see what they have to say about that. Maybe they mentioned sleeping.
Okay, so the Chofetz Chaim is referring to his work, Shmir Shalashon. However, the comment that the Chofetz Chaim alludes to here is not found there. Nesivos Chaim writes that he saw a version of the Hashmatos of Shmir Shalashon, volume 1, in which is written, although I wrote in the introduction to Chofetz Chaim that in volume 3 I will explain the entire matter, I am currently unable to do so because of escalating time pressures and cost of printing.
Wow.
After some discussion, the Chofetz Chaim in Be'er Mayim Chaim concludes that even someone who just listens to Lashon Hara in a Beis Knesset or Beis Midrash transgresses this commandment. For by remaining silent when someone speaks Lashon Hara in Hashem's sanctuary, he demonstrates a disregard for its sanctity. What the footnote doesn't clarify is, what's he saying about ordinary conversation? Because it says, as to the Torah scholars engaging in ordinary conversation that does not involve frivolity, when they're in the Beis Midrash, see what I have written in volume 3.
Right. And it's not there. First of all, what is that referring to in volume 3?
Well, apparently, according to the footnote, it's referring to something that he says he never wrote.
Uh-huh.
Oh, there's another what is this? It's not a footnote, it's a Haganah. Hagaha. I don't know what a Hagaha is, but at any rate, it says the Chofetz Chaim cites the Zohar that describes in mystical terms the degradation of one who speaks about mundane matters in the Beis Knesset.
Oh.
The following is a quote from the Zohar on Parshas Teruma. One who discusses mundane matters in the Beis Knesset, woe to him, because he shows a parting of Hashem's unity. Woe to him in that he has decreased the faith of Hashem. Woe to him, etc., in that he has demonstrated with his actions that in his view there is no God, Chas v'sholom, that he cannot be found there in the Beis Knesset, that he has no portion in Hashem, and that he has no fear of him. He has thus acted disgracefully with respect to the lofty tikkun of heaven above.
Wow. One second. What type of words does he talk? Well, let's see the rest of the note.
The Chofetz Chaim elaborates on how many prohibitions someone speaks in the Beis Knesset is likely to transgress. While on the subject of the severe prohibition of idle chatter in a Beis Knesset, let's see, idle chatter is translated from what?
Dvorim B'Teilim. That's Dvorim B'Teilim.
This says, I think it says, Sicha B'Teila.
Yeah, okay. Sicha and basically the same thing as Dvorim.
Yeah.
Sicha is yeah.
So somebody who does
talk. Yeah.
in the Beis Mikdash. I see fit to mention the grave consequences that result from this practice. I do this in light of that which is commonplace for our many sins, that someone praying in the synagogue will start telling his fellow his stories that are interlaced with Lashon Hara and Rechilas from beginning to end. Before the Torah reading, and before he can finish the story, the congregation will begin reading the Torah. And the Yetzer Hara convinces him not to interrupt the story in the middle, but rather to complete the Lashon Hara during the Torah reading. Many times the speaker is a prestigious person who stands at the east, i.e. the front of the Beis Knesset, so that sin is witnessed by everyone, resulting in a public desecration of Hashem's name. Public, that is, because he is in the presence of 10 Jews. His sin is therefore much worse than an ordinary Chilul Hashem, as is stated explicitly in Rambam's Sefer HaMitzvos. See there. And he thereby violates the prohibition of do not desecrate my holy name. So now take note of how many prohibitions this speaker has violated. He violated the prohibitions of Lashon Hara and Rechilas, which in itself involves several negative positive commandments. He violated the prohibition of do not desecrate my holy name in the presence of 10 Jews. He disregarded the Torah reading, for even if this causes him to miss hearing but a single verse or even a single word, this is a grievous and unbearable sin. For even if one merely leaves in the middle of the Torah reading, it is stated in his regard, those who forsake Hashem will be eradicated. As it is stated in Brachos, if this is the punishment for someone who leaves quietly in the middle of the Torah reading, then how much more so will one be punished if he remains inside the Beis Knesset, and his craving for idle chatter and Lashon Hara leads him away from listening to the words of the living God. Many times this scenario takes place on Shabbos, and the speaker's sin is thus far more severe than if the same sin would be committed during the week. As it is written explicitly in many holy works. This goes on for several pages. I don't know how much you want me to read.
Wow. Yeah, it's a big subject.
It's going to go into all of the different prohibitions and explain them.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Looks like it goes on for another page.
Okay. Well, for today, we're out of time.
Yeah, we're out of time.
So very good. So that was a very important addition that the Art Scroll brought.
So apparently, it's not the speech. It's not the common speech. I'm saying forget about the Lashon Hara and the Rechilas and so on. But if we're just talking about common speech, that's in and of itself is not the problem. The problem is what it's going to cause him to do. In other words, to ignore the Torah reading, to be interrupting other people's davening, and so on and so forth.
I have to think about that. I don't know. I thought that what he was saying was that it's true that all those things are caused. All those things are also fallout from what he's doing. But this he's saying idle chatter in a place where you're supposed to have reverence for Hashem. Even in other words, I'll tell. What's the nafkamina of what you're saying? Would it be permissible to say idle chatter in between the aliyahs and there's no Torah reading? Would that be permissible?
Well, I would say no, because there's brachas. Brachas are being said.
Okay, let's say idle chatter. Okay, so then that would be the question: is idle chatter, will it be permitted in the shul, not during the time of the davening?
Right. Let's say you get there early.
Right. You get there early or after the davening. Can somebody stand there and engage in idle chatter in the shul?
Right. You walk in early. There's only like 3 people in the shul. It's 10 minutes before the starting time. And you see your friend and he says, good Shabbos. And you say, good Shabbos. How are you? I'm fine. How are you? I'm fine. And then he says, what do you think of those Dodgers? They sure played a good game.
Yeah.
So now, is that forbidden?
I don't. What?
So is that forbidden? That last sentence, is that forbidden?
I would think so. Because even during in other words, it's still. I'll tell you why. It's because even not during the time of davening, this is still a basic necessity.
Right.
It doesn't automatically turn into a house when not during the time of davening. It's a basic necessity.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense to me. But it's interesting that in what I just read, the Chofetz Chaim doesn't say anything like that. He talks about all of these ramifications, but doesn't say. And by the way, it's also usher to say it in Stam anyway.
Well, I think that's what he originally mentioned in his opening discussion of the matter. When he originally talked about the prohibition of Mikdashi Tiro, to have reverence for the basic Knesset, basic Medrash, he said this is to not to say over there he's talking specifically about prohibited words over there.
Well, actually,
yeah.
You're right. The first thing he says when he quotes the Zohar, he doesn't say anything about forbidden words. He just says mundane matters.
Yeah. So that's the thing. From the Zohar, where's that Zohar?
Volume 2, 131b.
131b?
Yeah, Parshas Truma, Volume 2, 131b, like boy.
Volume 2?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so in other words, it really the only thing that the Chofetz Chaim spoke about, that's what he said. He says that was the last sentence. Le'inyan stam diburim she'einam shel litzonos. And he said, take a look in what I wrote in Pelik Gimel. But the Art Scroll says there ain't no such thing. We don't have it. And then the Art Scroll picks up and says, yes, but in the Zohar it talks about this.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, good, very good.
All right,
That's
Rabbi, thank you so much.
Yashikara to everybody. We'll be back soon.
All right, see you in a few minutes.
The Zohar.